Saul Alvarez versus William Scull. Let's break down this fight and let's see if this W that Canelo got on paper was really worth it. Or did this fight actually expose him more than it elevated him? So let's go. There's 5 main points I'm gonna break down and we're gonna go through. This is based on boxing IQ, not hate. So if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments and we can discuss. But I'm telling you, this is boxing IQ. I don't make the rules. The first thing is, when we watch the fight, we got to change the way we're viewing it. You're viewing the fight and saying, William Scull he didn't push forward, he didn't put his neck on the line and throw these punches. That's a fair point. But why didn't Canelo force him to? Now, we've seen boxers in the past, Mike Tyson, Joe Frazier, Roberto Duran, they fought great movers. They fought Ray Leonard, they fought Muhammad Ali, they fought Larry Holmes. Why was they able to make it a tough fight? Why was Canelo unable to? And this isn't something that was just seen in the Skull fight. This was seen when he boxed Lara. This was seen when he boxed Mayweather. This was seen in moments of loads of different fights. Charts, like where boxers have a better fluidity and rhythm to their game. You see, Saul Alvarez is a bit confused, he looks like he's disengaged. He's slow, he's flat-footed, just pondering and trying to chase his opponent. Where when they're changing the distance, closing it, lengthening it, closing it, and shortening and lengthening it, he's unable to adapt at a fast enough pace to keep him ahead in the fight. So that's the first point. The first point is, how are you looking at the fight? Are you looking at it from a biased lens, saying, oh, Canelo's the dominant figure. Why is this guy not doing this? Or are you looking at it from a more fair perspective and saying, okay, Skull was doing the skill and Canelo was unable to adapt. Point number 2, controlling the distance. Now it's an old saying in boxing, the one who controls the distance controls the fight. Now it's a carry on from my first point. We've seen Golovkin, he controlled the distance. We've seen Duran, he controlled the distance. We've seen Mayweather, he controls the distance. Even Muhammad Ali, sometimes boxing the long range, sometimes a close range, sometimes a mid range. Now, to be a real true elite level boxer, you need to be able to control the distance and pick what range to box at. You can't afford to be an elite, but only be one dimensional, unless you've got some other points that we're going to break down later on in this video, which Canelo Alvarez unfortunately doesn't seem to possess. Now again, this is a fault that we've seen throughout his career. He can't control the distance. He's only at one distance and he just stands there and plods along and hopes you tire. Like this is Canelo Alvarez's whole game. He boxed Billy Joe Saunders. He boxed Amir Khan. He was losing. And then they tire. With Amir Khan, he didn't tire, but he caught him with a great shot, which ended the fight. Who was many weight classes beneath him. Which again that is his career highlight knockout win against a boxer with a suspect chin and in lower weight divisions stepping up. Does that really even count? Billy Joe Saunders TKO, that was a legit stoppage. But again, you saw Billy Joe Saunders seemed to be piecing them up. Just piecing them up. We had too much rhythm, too much flair. But of course, Canelo has the game changer in his power and boom, he was able to injure Billy Joe Saunders. But before that moment, he couldn't control the distance. He can only box at whatever distance his opponent chooses, which is the reason why William Scull managed to dance around him all day long and he had no answers. He literally had not one answer the entire fight, no one way to adapt, nothing. Just plod and hope for the best. Now, along with distance control becomes another key thing, which is cutting off the ring. Because when you're controlling the distance, and I want to box in close, and I got one fighter around me, boxing how Skull did, boxing how Larry Holmes did, boxing how Muhammad Ali does, and they're flicking out their jab. I have to be able to shorten the path to block my opponent. So if he's dancing around me, I have to know I can step laterally like Mike Tyson, or I can rotate, I can pivot on my rear foot and close them down. Now, we've seen that Canelo doesn't have a great He may have a great understanding, but he doesn't show it. If I say he has a great understanding, you guys are in the comments saying, oh, he's a world champion. How can you say that? So maybe he does have a great understanding, but he doesn't ever show that understanding when he performs. So opponents are able to just flick the jab, and they know when they want to move, they can move. We've seen, Dimitri Bivol. So Dimitri Bivol's on the ropes in a high guard, and Alvarez is wailing away, smashing away him. At any moment Bivol chooses, he pivots and takes the center. Straight away, uncontested. I saw that against Belanga, I saw that against Bivol, I've seen that in every fight. Whenever a boxer wants to take the center, Alvarez has no means to stop them. No means at all. He just plods forward. So, distance control and cutting off the ring. We're going to put that as the same point together. Point number 2. Now, point number 3, we're going to use his whole career. We're going to track his whole career. We're going to see how he performs. And throughout his whole career, it is clear to say that this is an ongoing issue that hasn't got better in the slightest. From Lara, Mayweather, let's go back. I think even from Charles, although he clearly defeated Charles, you can see there was issues in that fight. Then Lara, then Mayweather, then Bivol. Even with Scull, although he got the victory, it's as clear as day that this fault hasn't been fixed at all. Canelo Alvarez struggles with fluidity and rhythm. He's unable to adapt and gauge distance. This is a fault he has. Now, no boxer is perfect, but this is a major fault, and a fault that can be exposed and exploited by many boxers, just like Crawford. Now, people say, that was 13 years ago. That was 10 years ago when you lost to that boxer or XYZ. But it's very important to understand that your past performances are an indicator of your future performances. So the fact that he's been unable to adapt, not once, not twice, not 3 times, like 5 times, he's been unable to adapt. It becomes a concern and a grave danger where you can see, okay, William Scull exposed that Saul Alvarez still hasn't been able to adapt and elevate his game. Now, this is how William Scull exposed Alvarez for what level he really is. Now, a great boxer. Let's talk Floyd Mayweather. Let's talk Beterbiev. Let's talk Bivol, Oscar De La Hoya, Manny Pacquiao. These are fighters that can box at any different range. They can feel rhythm. They're fluid. They can control the distance. These are essentials when it comes to being a great. These are not optional things, because if a boxer can't do that, it would appear to be easily defeated by opponents that can, like we've seen in Canelo Alvarez's career. So that fight with Scull is actually exposed him for not being a great level operator. Yes, he's got a great career. He's boxed the best, but who was available? Now, who was available is very important when you're determining how great the boxer really is. And unfortunately, you can't control that. But he's been the best of a bad bunch. But every single time he does step up to be truly great, he loses. This is the facts. This is not me hating on Canelo. I love Canelo. Go through my channel. I've done so many videos on him, but I can clearly see his limitations. Now, point number 5 is very important, although you may not realize that unless you really think about it, really ponder on the matter at hand. Now, William Scull showed that Alvarez just follows the fight. He doesn't set the fight. He doesn't set the pace. He doesn't set the tone of battle. So when you're watching a great boxer, they know how to make you fight their fights. They don't fight your fight. They know how to make the fight change. Now, when we saw Scull step in and move in, and Alvarez is just plodding around, just hoping and wishing that Scull would stop stepping so he can punch him. Now that shows an inability to set the tone of the fight. You might be boxing, let me think, I don't know. Let's say Mayweather. When Mayweather boxed Madonna in the first fight, he set the tone. He said, you know what, I'm going to fight your fight. But then in the second fight, Mayweather easily flipped that tone and kept moving, which means that he can pick how the fight is to happen, basically. He can pick the flow of the fights. I'm trying to think, even when you look at Bivol, we watch how Bivol boxed Saul Alvarez. Bivol picked the flow of the fight. He said, on my terms, we're going to stand still and we're going to do battle. On my terms, I'm going to step and I'm going to move. Alvarez was just a participant. He was just a passenger in the car, whilst all his opponents are in the driving seat. Because Alvarez is a great counterpuncher. Because Alvarez has great timing, he's durable. Because he has great head movement, great defense. Because he is a really good boxer. That's how he's able to defeat fighters, even though he's fighting their fight. But at top elite level, this becomes a big mistake. You can't beat top elite level boxers by fighting their fight. And that's part of the reason, in my opinion, why he keeps losing to these top elite level boxers. And you have all the Canelo Alvarez fans that are watching him. They're watching his skills and they're saying, Alvarez is better than Mayweather. It's just that he was called to the wrong time. Alvarez is better than XYZ. Alvarez is better than XYZ. But on fight night, he doesn't show it. The reason isn't because of his skill, because his skill really is high, but it's because of his boxing know-how, his boxing knowledge. He's really good at doing the skill, but to set up the skill, to set up the flow of the fight, it seems to be from the outside. Now, Alvarez has achieved a lot more boxing than me, but it seems to be that his boxing know-how is lacking. Now, for me, these 5 points show that the fight with Scull exposed him. This didn't elevate him. And if I was Terence Crawford, with Terence Crawford's skills, I would go into this fight very, very confident, knowing that he might hit harder than me. I don't think he's stronger than Crawford. He's not really bigger than Crawford, but he's got a lot more experience than Crawford. But I would know that if I can control the distance, that's the main skill I need to be able to master to beat Canelo Alvarez. Ask yourself, does Terence Crawford know how to control the distance? Has he controlled the distance in previous fights? And that is your answer on who's going to win the bout.